What's going on, everybody? My name is Baloo and welcome to the jungle. This is the channel where we take a very simple approach to technical analysis. We look at the price in the context of volume using the Wyckoff method. If that is something that interests you, then why don't you hit the subscribe button or leave me a follow on Twitch. In today's video, I want to talk about a few coins and I also want to talk a little bit about theory and psychology inside of this market. So a lot of new investors in the space, fantastic to see. I'm glad that people are kind of really diving into cryptocurrency and understanding blockchain. But you have to realize that this market is not unlike any other market, and there is a cyclical nature to this market. So understanding where you are in the market can really help you not only make better choices in your macro investments, but allow you to position yourselves a little bit better when deciding which coins to go for. A lot of the times what we end up doing as new investors is we chase a lot of the hype, we chase a lot of the stories, and more often than not, that's kind of the point at which a lot of the profits have already begun to be taken, and you end up holding bags for a while. So that can be kind of frustrating. That can be, it can really whittle away at your account because you end up waiting and waiting and waiting, and then all of a sudden you give up and you go somewhere else where there's hype, and then the coin you were in pumps. So understanding market cycles, understanding how to determine strength in an asset, how to determine when an asset is in accumulation can be really, really beneficial for you as a trader. And we're going to discuss that along with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and VeChain. So without any further ado, let's jump into the charts. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin here. Now, I just want a stream check. So can we just get a quality check? I keep messing with the settings here on my stream overlay, and I'm hoping that I've got it dialed in now. But if there's any laggy video or if there's any laggy audio, please do let me know in the chat. Okay, so here we are looking at Bitcoin. We're on the 8-hour chart, and we have been inside of this reaccumulation after decline. Reaccumulation after decline, reaccumulation. It's not a huge spread, but this is basically what we're looking at. So we had our buyer's climax over here. Let me just drop this. Started off with our buyer's climax, and we had a large shakeout event. Now this scared a lot of people. This scared a lot of new investors. A lot of people started buying Bitcoin at $58,000, and all of a sudden the market tanks or the market dumps. Like, this is crypto, it's volatile. There are not many market participants in the grand scheme of things. So the shakeouts are above normal, especially if you're used to other markets like equities and commodities. So we had this shakeout event. We got, I'm going to call this a spring based off of the strength of this test right here. So when we came back inside of the trading range and hit this test, boom, we headed northward to our sign of strength, nearly hitting my point and figure target of $63,000. After we got this sign of strength, we came in for our backup phase, our backing up action, and that's tentatively where I think that we are in Bitcoin right now. I think that we're priming for the larger move. I think that we're kind of, getting ready for that large extension. My tentative target is around $75,000. I have a PNF target of $74,000. So, the next extension should be quite a large extension. It's just, when will it come? So there is also kind of a bearish consideration that you could be looking at in this chart. And I say bearish just because, we're at the point in the new investors, can't handle volatility for the most part. Now, I may not be speaking to you, but a lot of new investors really can't stomach a lot of the volatility that is inside of cryptocurrency. But there is kind of this ascending channel formation. We spent a little bit of time down in here where we were in the oversold territory. Let me make that a nice bright color. Oversold territory. We got into the overbought territory. That resulted in the shakeout that we all experienced. And now we have gotten a little bit of a rejection up at the area of resistance. So the question remains, do we need to head down to a lower end and get into the value zone of this accumulation? So this is not off the table. If we back it up a little bit, or if we just draw an area of a support and resistance. So we got rejected twice down here. So let's just slap a area of resistance, or I guess in this case support right here. And we can see that it's not off the table. There is room to the downside, coming in for a double bottom. So we might get something along the lines of that, where we head down and then possibly up, or we just take off from here. How's that for analysis? We either go down or we either go up. But that's often the case with analysis. You're not trying to predict the future. You're just positioning yourselves for the probable outcome. I do in fact think that we are bullish. I think that this is going to result. I think that these two pullbacks are going to be enough. We're going to shake out a lot of the weak hands. We're going to remove a lot of the over leveraged traders. The exchanges are going to be okay with allowing some of these leveraged longs to head to the upside, because the degenerates have been stopped out by this point. So things are looking good. I like what I'm seeing inside of the charts. Even the bearish case is still good. I'm quite confident that we have more upside from here. Anything I say on this channel is not financial advice. These are strictly my own opinions. I'm just a cartoon bear on the internet. You shouldn't really be getting financial advice from a cartoon bear. Okay. Catch up with the chat here. Audio is great. No distortion this time. Nice mic sound. Awesome. What is the intro sound? That is one of my favorite royalty-free creators, Isaac. Oh God, what is this? What is his last name? Isaac Hayes? No, Isaac Hayes is a. You know what? I will. I'll drop it in the. Link in the description here. Brain fart, I forget, but I go to him for most of my royalty-free music. He makes dope royalty-free music. He also has the outro as well, which is a pretty dope song. Okay, I have a buy order on Avalanche at $30. Do you think it will retest that area? Yeah, if I forget, we'll take a look at Avalanche. But let's stay on topic for now. Let's jump into the Ethereum chart. So Ethereum is a little bit different of a story in terms of structure. There's a lot of negative sentiment against Ethereum right now, and that is also showing up in the price structure. You know, we don't have a very strong commitment in the price of Ethereum. I think that this trend may continue for a while. The sentiment that is. However, you know, Ethereum is still making higher highs and higher lows. If we just want to draw a few drawings on here, we can, you know, we have the buyer's climax here. Come on. Buyer's climax. Buyer's climax here. That came down to our shakeout. We'll just say SO. Shakeout, and you know, we got a spring test. Now the sign of strength didn't come, so there's already a lack of commitment inside of Ethereum. We did, however, come up against an area of resistance. Now we kind of have a similar upsloping trading range that is occurring inside of Ethereum, so I kind of like to look at as many trading, like this is our local trading range right here, and then here's our macro trading range over here. So you want to kind of determine what is going on both and kind of try to determine if there's confluence between the two. And right now there's not a lot of confluence as far as an area of support, and that is true with Bitcoin as well. So, you know, there's room to the downside on Bitcoin, and there's room to the downside on Ethereum. So let me just highlight this so you can see it a little bit better. But basically, similar structure, you know, buyer's climax, automatic reaction, setting the range. We spent a little bit of time we spent a lot of time in the overbought condition on Ethereum, way more time than we spent overbought on Bitcoin. And we just didn't get the commitment that we needed, and that resulted in our downside move. We have not spent much time in the oversold condition of Ethereum. That's bullish. That's bullish. So although we're not seeing the price commitments that we would typically be expecting with an asset that is literally pretty much the backbone of the entire DeFi sector, it's still making higher highs and higher lows. Just the commitment isn't quite there. So is there room to the downside? Yeah, I think that there's probably room somewhere to the lower end of the range, potentially. But if that was to be negated, we would get our sign of strength and head to the upside. What we're waiting for in a lot of these assets is the jump across the creek. So Bitcoin has gotten its jump across the creek. Ethereum, it's debatable. Since it came right after this this shakeout event here, you could make the argument that it jumped the creek, but if we wanted to be a little bit more conservative, we're going to want one more commitment, one more large commitment to the upside on higher volume, indicating that the demand is re-entering. We need to get that demand. Usually when you jump the creek, you need that demand signature to follow up as confirmation that that we have reached some sort of market consensus and that the composite operator is in agreement for higher levels. So we haven't seen that yet inside of Ethereum, so we're just waiting to see what goes on there. So if you guys are interested in learning this method, there's a couple ways that you can go about doing it. You can just simply Google the Wyckoff method, and there are plenty of free PDFs out there on the internet, or you can join my free Discord, links in the description, where I've just taken all of those free PDFs and put them all in one place for you. Those are the PDFs that helped me learn, and I wanted to share them with you, share them with the community, so that you don't have to go searching for them. You can look at the same documents that taught me, and you can self-coach in this method. Now, if you are the adventurous type, and if you are the type of person who is a curious person, which I'm sure a lot of people in this space are, cryptocurrency is a very misunderstood concept. Blockchain is a very misunderstood concept. So by nature, most of the market participants here are curious and adventurous individuals. So if you want to kind of get the behind the scenes of my server and join VIP, you can follow the links below. It's not an expensive group. There are groups that cost hundreds of dollars a month and packages that cost in the thousands. I'm very affordable, and I offer a lot of value. So if you want to know what coins are setting up, if you want to know where you are in the market cycle, if you want to know where the top is likely to have come in, if you want to know where the cycle bottom is when we're in the bear market and we're repositioning our portfolios, then I encourage you to join VIP down in the links below. So let's get back onto Cardano. Ton of hype in the space on Cardano right now. Yes, I will check. There's a lot of requests coming in the chat. I want to get through the prepared content first. I'm trying to kind of optimize this for YouTube so that the replays are good for YouTube, but we'll get to the community part later. So all of your requests most of your requests will be answered. So we'll try and make this a short video for the YouTube replay. But here we are on Cardano. Now, if you were in VIP, you kind of got the warning from me. Everybody was very bullish on the launch of Cardano going to Coinbase. Coinbase Pro had it first, and then traditional Coinbase, where a lot of new retail investors are purchasing assets, got it next. And a lot of people saw that as a sure thing. The problem with a sure thing, the problem with retail consensus, is it often will create a sense of overconfidence. And when people are overconfident, what do? They leverage themselves. Whether you're familiar with leveraged tools or not, I guarantee there was a lot of frothy traders in this market who were over leveraging that news. They saw that Cardano was pumping. They saw that Cardano was about to be listed on Coinbase. They've seen what's happened in the past with those listings, and they went to Binance Futures and they put in a 50x leverage, I guarantee, if not more. Whatever was available, they were maxing out the leverage on those positions. Exchanges aren't going to allow you to hold those positions. Sorry to burst your bubble, but crypto is very, very volatile, especially right now in the bull market. The swings increase as the market develops. Right now, we have huge swings. Does your leveraged position have the ability for volatility tolerance? If it's in excess of 3x, probably not. You don't have the ability to handle volatility on those positions. A 3x leveraged position has a volatility tolerance of 33%. Not going to cut it. So realize that the exchanges are not going to allow these retail traders to hold 50x positions and carry those positions into the next extension to the upside and have to honor those trades. So what do? They cause shakeouts, okay? And it doesn't take much. When you're looking at this down bar, this is all of the liquidations. This is all of the long liquidations being forced to sell at lower levels. So the exchange doesn't need to do much. The market makers don't need to do much. The whales don't need to do much to trigger this chain reaction and have that downside move. Where did the downside move land, though, is on this area of support. We had this support / resistance flip. This is at the area of the jump across the creek, right above the area of resistance on this downsloping trading range. We had our sign of strength, and we now have our backing up action. Let's label it accordingly. Label the backing up action. Beautiful. So we're in a good place now. We are in a good place now. I think that Cardano is looking healthy as far as its local consolidation. I also really like where Cardano is when we are looking at the Bitcoin pair, the Bitcoin comparative. So it's kind of leaving its accumulation range on the Bitcoin pair, and that's another layer of market consensus. So let's just quickly go ahead and take a look at Cardano on the Bitcoin pair while we're on the topic of discussion. Injective protocol. Got a lot of requests today, and they're not all shitcoins. That's refreshing. Usually these streams end up going into like $600,000 market cap bullshit coins. So it's good to see that you guys are actually making some half decent requests. 88 BTC, thanks for the follow. Thanks for anybody who has followed. I know I haven't thanked all of them individually, but I do notice them, and thank you. I talk a lot. Okay, so here we are on Cardano on the 3-day. Typically, you don't want to downslope your trading range unless there's a really good argument for it. I'm kind of forcing it here, but we're on the Bitcoin pair, so I'm kind of forcing it. There are a lot of institutional players. There is a lot of retail. Retail doesn't read these charts. They just don't. Institutions, they might read these charts because they kind of understand market psychology and they understand the amount of liquidity that's locked up into Bitcoin. But for the most part, a lot of new investors, I would say all new investors, do not measure any performance of their altcoin against the Bitcoin pair, which is a large mistake in my opinion. But here we are on Bitcoin. We're clearly seeing an outperformance of Cardano against the Bitcoin pair, and we've left the accumulation range, came down for a backup. So how much more do we have to test on this? Do we need to come down for another area of test? Do we need to do a whole trading range holding as this backup before hitting higher levels? Or is this test going to be enough and we're going to break out above this level? So, if that is the case, then hey, we're off to the races. The demand, the ability to purchase is kind of a significant thing when we're looking at Cardano being offered on Coinbase. But we've also had a pretty good run in Cardano. So are people going to be taking profits? We need to kind of wait and see. So that's basically what I'm seeing on Cardano. The next coin that I want to take a look at is VeChain. Now, VeChain, full transparency, I held VeChain for a long time. And then I just decided that I no longer aligned with the fundamentals of VeChain, and I don't want that to scare anybody. You know, a trader is self-reliant. You need to kind of build your portfolio around your belief system. I believe in the bones of decentralized finance being built. I believe in the platforms. I believe in the scaling solutions. I believe in many layers that contribute to decentralized finance, specifically built on the Ethereum network. That's what resonates with me. That is what I am exposing myself to. That's how I'm building my portfolio. So as soon as I got to a recovery on VeChain, because I held this from the last cycle, because a lot of you on the stream also ended up holding bags through that bear market. So when I got a recovery, you know, I kind of decided to pretty much limit my exposure to VeChain. But that is not to say that you cannot make money in VeChain. We are in the speculative stage of this market. VeChain is a player with a huge community. VeChain has a lot of boots to the ground, creating a lot of customer base that actually use the protocol, which is pretty unique in this space, honestly. So there's a lot of fundamental factors that can contribute to the growth, the consistent growth of VeChain. It's just not something, I think it's just a little ahead of its time as far as real world adoption. Yeah, Walmart has it, and there are plenty of other companies in China that use it, but I am a little confused as to how the token what the interest of the token is with those companies. Anyways, there we have a breakout of the reaccumulation range. You can see this area right here. Let me just draw. We had the buyer's climax here. We had the automatic reaction here, and that set the range. Okay, we finally broke out of the range and tested. This is the area at which you want to be taking a position if you were new to this asset and you're wanting to, scale in. From this point on, it is really simple. And when I see a simple setup, I do not overcomplicate it. If you were to take a position in VeChain, it's actually a really easy trade right now. It's one of the better styles of trades to get into. Everything that we do in this market requires patience. So understanding that we have a pretty well-defined trend here. We have a very well-defined trend. It's pretty plain to see the structure of the highs and the structure of the lows. So let's slap a range on it and let's see what it looks like. Get a bunch of touch points on the area of support, open it up to the area of resistance, allow yourself some overbought conditions, because crypto is full of overbought conditions. And we're up at an area of resistance right now, rejecting back down to the area of support. Where do you buy? You buy at support. So anytime that we head down to these lower levels, anytime we touch the lower end of the range, the trend is your friend until it ends. There's nothing that says that this trend will not continue. Therefore, your entry is right here. So keep an eye out for that. You can even set alarms. You can place a horizontal ray. If you don't have a premium TradingView account, I highly recommend it. And if you want to support the channel, just follow the links to sign up for that TradingView account. But you can set an alarm, set a horizontal ray, place an alarm on it, and move on. You don't need to watch the chart 24/7. When the signal comes in, you will be notified. Alarms are very, very helpful when you're trying to look at all of these assets and keep track of all of these assets. So I encourage you to have a pro account on TradingView. Okay, so that is it as far as the content that I wanted to deliver for the YouTube side of things. This makes the video a little bit easier to edit. I don't like, nobody wants to watch a streamer, having a chat in real time. So I'm trying to do all the talking up front and then we can interact. So we'll just go into the community portion. So we got a few requests here. First request was Reef and Bird Money. Beautiful, beautiful picks. On TradingView, I will be taking a look at Bird on the Ethereum pair. I think that Bird is still pretty applicable in the Ethereum pair right now anyways. It's not available on enough exchanges, and the liquidity on those exchanges is so crap that it's still very much an ETH play. You're trying to build your ETH on this one. So let's go ahead and take a look at it on the 1 hour. So Bird, I've been in and out of the Bird community. So if you've found me from the Bird community, I was kind of getting to the point where I'm like, guys, it's do or die here. We're getting to that point of support here. We were right down at this level on Bird, this kind of area of support down here, and we kept testing, we kept knocking on the doors of the lower end, and I said, if we don't hold this level, we're heading down. But we held, and we headed up to higher levels, and we have a beautiful bull flag forming right here. Now, where do we need to come down and test? That is the question, because typically there's a test. So we want to look at the previous area of resistance back here. We're going to just pull that across, and I kind of like to find confluence with the area of the breakout as well. So there is downside potential. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to head down. And realize too that a down candle here on the Ethereum pair could just be Ethereum pumping. So realize that too, that it may not necessarily translate to you losing fiat dollars. It may just be an Ethereum outperformance, which, you want to be in the horse that's winning, but it's a lot easier to see that your portfolio isn't losing dollars than it is to see you losing Vitalics. Is that what people are calling it these days? Bitcoin is Satoshi, Ethereum is Vitalics. But yeah, we have a flag forming here. Flags are great. I love flags. And we can dissect it a little bit more, but it's also a very illiquid asset. Very easy to kind of manipulate this chart. There's not a lot of holders in Bird. Not a lot of hype in Bird. And so, you know, you need to kind of take all of your analysis with a grain of salt. The less liquid and the smaller the market cap, the more you have to be flexible with the analysis. Really keep things simple. One of the most common methods of analysis is drawing triangles and doing pattern trading. Pattern trading works great in highly liquid markets. We're talking volume in excess of $50 million a day of trading volume. When you're above $50 million a day in trading volume, you can kind of lean a little heavier on those types of patterns. That's not how it works in crypto. Everybody wants the hidden gem, everybody wants the micro cap, everybody wants to discover Bitcoin at 1 cent. And I'm not going to get into the details as to why that's typically or statistically a bad idea. But the point I'm trying to make is when you're playing with illiquid markets, you have to be very flexible with how the formations present themselves. Really simplify things and look at support and resistance. So locally here, we have an area of support. We're sitting on top of support here. Where is our resistance? We can see the resistance here. There's actually 2 areas of resistance. So the local short-term resistance is here. It's probably going to be very easy for Bird to break that. And then the larger resistance is the one at the top, at the buyer's climax. So if we can get above these levels, put in a new high on Bird, we're gonna go for a large extension, in my opinion, because we're at that point where we're convincing the market. The market is not convinced yet. We have investors that are convinced. We have bulls that are convinced. We have bullish price action, but the market, the composite operator, the composite man, the market totality is not convinced. The market becomes convinced when we break new highs. So if we break this local high on the bull flag, we can ascertain that we're going to hit higher levels. So that's basically what I'm seeing on Bird. Reef, let's take a look at Reef. We got a nice recovery on Reef. Again, for those just joining, if you want to, I only do these streams 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want more exposure to this type of analysis, or if you just want to stop and chat and kind of gain some free information, then follow the links below for the free Discord. Note on the Discord, because I saw the last time I was streaming, I had a lot of people try and get into the Discord and my bot kicked them out. So you need to realize that I have a security bot in place that is going to require you to verify your account. You need to verify through YouTube, you need to verify through Twitter, you will need to verify by some means of verification to prove that you are not a bot. Our server experienced many raids and spam raids, and I'm not going to have that. So if you are interested in joining the Discord, you do have to verify. If you are unable to verify, if nothing is working, just DM me and I'll bypass the bot. We'll just have to manually enter you into the Discord. But please try the bot first, because I'm a busy guy and I don't have time to be manually entering people into the free side of the server. So Reef, we're kind of do or die, but this is very typical when we're in an accumulation. So Reef has been in an accumulation for a long time. We're still making higher highs, we're still making higher lows. So there's nothing critical that would tell us that, you know, we're not ready to hit higher levels. The only thing that I kind of don't like is our inability to commit to the upside. But again, this is accumulation. So are we just shaking out weak hands? There's a lot of hype on Reef, and Reef has not had, you know, parabolic price action. Reef has not gone crazy by any means. So who's accumulating Reef? Why is there so much hype around a coin that isn't pumping? The fundamentals must be strong. I believe that, you know, the ability to search for liquidity across different automated market making protocols like Uniswap and SushiSwap and all of those other things, even cross-chain, is a pretty powerful technology. I don't know enough about whether it is ready or how it will be implemented, but I think that the idea is really powerful. So obviously there's some pretty fundamentally powerful considerations with this protocol, but the technicals are kind of confusing right now. We are sitting on an area of support, so technically we're at a buy. This up thrust was pretty violent, and we got a nice down bar move. This was, you know, the rally was as a result of bullish news with Alameda whatever, and they were investing supposedly 20 million into this one, which is not even a lot of money, but it caused quite a stir. And then when they tweeted, hey, no, we're not doing that, you know, we got the rejection. But the simplest thing to kind of take into consideration here is, here's the last high. Okay, we have a high, we have a low, we have a higher high, we got wicks that went higher, and we have a higher low. The trend is still intact. The trend is your friend. Keep it simple. We're sitting on support. The trend is intact. We can't flip bearish yet. We can't flip bearish yet. So I'm still holding on to Reef. I think that it's fine. You know, I entered at lower levels, so I'm not worried. I'm sorry if you bought at higher levels. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. That's kind of the market psychology and understanding that you need to buy support, you need to buy accumulation, you need to avoid hype. And these lessons can only be taught to you by the market. We can teach you what to look for. We can teach you what to keep an eye on and how to interpret price action. All of that can be taken care of in VIP. But even with education, you do need a slap every once in a while. And that's just the way it is. This is the progress. This is your progression as a trader. This is your progression as a person who has decided to self-custody their portfolio. Screw the 401k, screw the RRSP, screw all of that stuff. You've decided to take your retirement into your own hand. You've decided to take custody your portfolio, and that is a big deal. So realize that it does require a high level of respect. Okay. Phantom. And we check Phantom, FTM. FTM is a little too hot right now. I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's pumped a lot. So this is going back to what I was just saying. You know, the retail, they chase the green shit. They chase the shit that's moving. Watch out for that. Really. We had a huge extension. Huge extension. You need to buy the accumulation. Look at this. This was the accumulation. Now you can make the argument, well, if you zoom out enough, anything looks like that. Yeah, but this was this. So how long are you gonna wait? The last accumulation took from, if you bought the peak of the last hype cycle on Phantom, you needed to wait 849 days. I don't think you're gonna wanna wait 849 days since you bought the peak and we're at 22 days. So realize that accumulation takes time. Fundamentals don't change. Developers keep developing. Fundamental development is it happens at a pretty steady rate. You know, the developers didn't start, you know, making things really quickly and determining like the future of the protocol all in this like short span of time here. They did it back here, and a lot of the position was locked up by strong hands. And it's only when the liquidity is locked by strong hands, the diamond hands, that you end up having to fight over the remaining supply. And that fight of the remaining supply is where you have to outbid the other person. That outbidding is what's referred to as the markup phase. And the markup phase is where the whales sell. You are going to end up holding for a long duration of time until the market changes. And how you determine when the market changes is with signals. Don't buy without signals. And what that means is you're going to be looking at a chart and you're going to enter at higher levels. You're going to enter at higher levels with confirmation. Really important to just let that go. Let it go. Understand that confirmation comes at a higher price tag. Confirmation comes at a higher price tag. So when we're looking at this, you can actually keep it really simple. You know, it's kind of curved. So in Wyckoff, we do often what's called the creek. So just kind of draw the creek line. And when you get the jump across the creek, you know that there's something that's changing. There's sentiment that's changing. It needs to come on high volume. So you want to see an uncharacteristic bar, a nice up bar, and you want to see that is outside of the normal amount of volume. You want it to be a high volume signature. When you get that high volume signature on a consolidation with very tight spread, see how the spread is just getting really, really tight? When the spread is tightening and the supply is contracting, and you get that jump across the creek breaking out new highs, that's your signal to pay attention, because your next move is going to be looking on an entry for an LPS, which is the last point of support, or as we often call it inside of crypto, a pullback. So wait for that confirmation, wait for these things to come in, wait for the bullish signs, wait for the demand to re-enter, and then buy a pullback. You don't have any of those things currently, so if you are holding a bag, you're holding a bag. Sergio is asking if you can pay for the group in crypto. You can't pay month to month just because it's an admin nightmare. I don't have a big team. I'm a pretty small streamer. It's just me, so I would be manually processing those payments. Email me and we can discuss options, but I'm not going to take crypto payments for less than 6 months. My preference would be for a year. But yes, I do accept crypto. Andrew Gibson here for ADA. Whoop whoop. Yeah, ADA is kind of it's got some good indicators, especially on the Bitcoin pair. Jake from State Farm. Oh, hey Jake from State Farm. Yeah, let's take a look at an injective protocol. You're always such a nice guy. Jake from State Farm. All right, so taking a look at INJ. So INJ is another one that's had a huge amount of markup. If you're looking for entries in assets that have like 10x'd, I don't know. Like, it's traditionally speaking not a good idea. So, we're at a 12x from the backup. If you were doing a Wyckoff on this one, on a Wyckoff accumulation on this one, this is the beauty of Wyckoff, guys. This is the beauty of learning this method. You identify bottoms, and the bottoms present themselves in a very specific way. And yes, there is extreme volatility at the bottom because, if you're at the top of this channel and you go to the bottom, what does that mean? That means you've almost lost 100% of the value because you're at the bottom. So the ability to tolerate the volatility at the bottom is extreme. You need to be prepared for that. But when we get the signal and we get the pullback, the result is incredible. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what you have to look for. These are the setups that we post in my group often. We're still finding these setups. They're still presenting themselves, and they're not presenting themselves on the coins that you would think. A lot of people are chasing these microcap gems. A lot of the stuff that's setting up right now is not microcap gems. Just gonna say that. Yeah, so as far as what we're looking for, we discussed, what was the last coin we looked at? What was that coin? Oh my God, whatever the last one we were looking at, we were talking about the jump across the creek. Injective protocol right now does have a jump across the creek. So what we're looking for is you're matching the highs, we're looking at the highs, and you could almost like think of it as a moving average. And then you just get a characteristic that breaks out. You get a breakout, and the breakout comes on increased demand. We're seeing the demand increase. This is good. Now, what are we waiting for next? We're waiting for a pullback on top of the creek line. Now, it's very interpretive. I can't tell you the levels. What you need to do is when you're looking for a pullback, the move will go up, it'll come down, and it'll round, and it'll head back up. Now, this is just an exaggerated, I'm just kind of zooming into the actual move. So you look at the area of support and you buy the breakout of the turnaround. When it turns around, that's when you enter. It's all about confirmation. It's always about confirmation. We're in a bull market. You don't need to think so much about the demand side. You don't need to think so much about the direction because the bias is up. The bias is continuation. These patterns, by definition, in a markup phase, in a bull run, need to be held with a bullish bias, meaning that the perceived direction is up. So you don't need to think about that much. You just need to be able to identify the pullbacks and identify the exit of the pullback to place an appropriate entry. You're not going to nail the bottom. Don't try. You try to nail the bottom, you're going to get burned. Just don't try and nail the bottom. Don't try and sell the top. It's not going to happen. The only way it's going to happen is by accident. So injective, we have our first bullish sign there, our first bullish sign. Now, if this is the spring, if we draw a trading range on here, go to the original, let's go to the change of character right here. Let's drag that across and bring this back to the mean, or the area of the most touch points, which is kind of in this area right here. We go back to a solid line. And we have our tentative spring. So our next move, we just wait for a pullback. Wait for a pullback on INJ, even if it comes at higher levels, wait for the pullback. Wait for the pullback and then wait for the turnaround. Buy the break of the turn. Patience. It's all about patience and controlling your emotion, because the green days make you want to buy and the red days make you want to wait for lower levels. Understand the psychology. Understand that trading is always counterintuitive. That's why most people lose money. Most people who trade lose money. And it's because of the emotions. When you give into your emotion, it causes you to lose money because you're with the herd. The only way to get away from the herd is to not think like the herd. The only way to not think like the herd is to not think like a human being. You have to not be a human being. You need to be a robot. You need to be composite man. You need to be the composite operator. You need to be the entity of all buying and selling. You need to be the energy source that moves the market. You cannot be the emotional trader. You cannot be the person trying to be a millionaire next year. You can't. You'll lose money. Crowns. Let's take a look. Crown on Bittrex. Backup phase. So we're talking accumulation here. Let's zoom out. Beautiful. Nice. Nice one, Amir. So super small cap coin. I can just tell by the wickiness. You know, it's a very wicky, illiquid coin. So I hope you know what you're doing. I hope you have the demand aspect, you know, locked in, and realize that this one's going to take patience because you have so few market participants. Where does hype come from? Hype comes from a friend telling a friend who tells two friends who tells two friends, and it, you know, it goes parabolic. The hype is like the viral nature of spreading information. So there is not a huge amount of market participants in this asset. That means its ability to go viral, that's its ability to spread information quickly, is less. That's why with the higher caps, the ones that have communities built in, you know, the ones in excess of $100 million, when it moves, everybody talks. When these move, maybe not everybody's talking. So realize that. Now, here's the change of character right here. Let's draw a trading range on that. Here is kind of the change of character. A couple ways you can look at this. I'm going to drag that across. A lot of time in the oversold condition. So I'm going to say no, this is not a backup. I think that we have spent a lot of time in the oversold condition on this asset. So it's testing. So this entire thing could be thought of as a spring. And, you know, we finally had a little bit of absorption of the supply right here that did result in a mini sign of strength. Man, this is illiquid. If you get on the right side of the trade of this one, it's going to be pretty favorable to you. But this one is going to emotionally scar you probably at the same time, trying to wait. It'll take time and it'll be volatile. It'll be very volatile. But we're in an area of support. So if we can hold this area of support right here, it would be good. But here's what I'm trying to, you know, this is why buying the accumulations are hard. Let's say you buy the area of support right here. Look at how easy it is to go down. Like no move whatsoever. And we're down 50%. Like, it's so easy to move the price down at these levels because we're at the bottom. You know, a move down from any level here is going to be huge retracements to your capital. Manage your risk appropriately, position yourself appropriately. Make sure that if you're in venture capital plays, you're picking many different assets. You know, in venture capital, you know, stuff that nobody's talking about, new ideas, the best way to play them is to play 10. Take a normal position and play 10 of them. Because if you get one that succeeds, it'll usually cover the losses of the other 9. But realize that if you're like, if you go full in on this, if you go like all in on this, you are gambling. And if you're gambling, you can just leave now because you don't need to watch a technical analysis channel. You never need to watch a technical analysis channel because all you're doing is gambling. You may as well just take that same amount of money and throw it on red or black because your odds are actually better on roulette. And I'm not being dramatic. This is statistically proven. So realize this. I don't know what this does. It's been around for a while, so that's good. You know, it's not something that's brand new, and we do have a bottoming pattern. So just realize that there's volatility here for sure. Bittrex is not a liquid exchange. I don't know who's talking about Crown, but we're on a pullback. So, you know, you've waited for that pullback, which is good. Just understand the risk that's associated with this. I'm gonna stop drilling that one home. OMG and Avalanche. Yes, we did talk about Avalanche. I promised Avalanche. Let's take a look at Avalanche. Somebody was asking whether $30 would be a good buy. You never just place an order and just ask if it's going to be a good buy. You know, you look for support. Where was the support? The support was in this range right here. Let's draw a range. You know, it was down here. This is the area of support. So it's between $24 and $30. That's the area that you want to pay attention to. We got our sign of strength. We made a higher high. This would have been a buy signal. The buy signal would have retraced back into the trading range, and then we got another buy signal as we left, and we're now leaving the trading range. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, I've said it a few times on the stream now. You know, you get that movement. Where's the bottom? And then you buy the break. So we're still in a range that is technically acceptable. Just wait for a pullback. Wait for a pullback. And no, that doesn't mean FOMO tomorrow when it's up 15%. It means wait for a pullback, even if it's higher levels. Okay, that's Avalanche. Yeah, I've got a few more minutes here, and then I gotta head into the virtual classroom. So for those who are in VIP, get ready for the virtual classroom, prepare your charts, drop them in peer review charts, and we'll talk through some of your strategies and talk through some of the ideas that you have and some of the, you know, some of the coins that you're looking at so that we can build a good plan around how you want to trade those. So prepare for that. That starts at 1, as long as I remember to get off of this stream in time. Okay. Any need? Could that be a rising megaphone? Not sure which one we're talking about. Yes, you can pay for the subscription with crypto. Just email me at bluescryptojungle.com. AP13. I haven't looked at that one in a while. API 3. I always look at that one. It's API 3. That's what it is. Okay, let's start out on the daily. Identify the trend. The trend is wonky, but up. We can handle wonky, but up. There's really not a lot of information in this chart. So, you know, theoretically you're at the bottom. And this is what I'm talking about when you're buying new coins. Like, if this is the bottom, the spread is 300%. That means if you're at the top right now, you need to be able to handle a retracement of nearly half of your investment. Wait for pullbacks. I've said it a million times, you know, even if it comes at higher levels. I feel like a freaking broken record, but you know, we do not have enough information on this chart. There's just not enough information. We don't have a defined trend. We're sideways. We launched and went up, but we're sideways overall. We don't have a higher high. If anything, we have a lower high. So we could reverse here and make a lower low. Structurally, there's no confirmation here. There's just no confirmation. So yeah, I would wait. Give up the bottom. Don't buy the bottom. Don't have to. Wait for confirmation. And yeah, that means give up 300%. That's what a lot of people don't get. But hey, you know, I'm a trader. I trade. There are rules that you have to follow. And you know, one of those rules is let the market tell you when to buy. Do not ever presume. Hopeful thoughts should be banished. Wrong coin? I'm sorry, Amir. You're in the Discord. Just hit me up. BWS? That was the wrong coin? I thought that was what we looked at. Yo, this one's brand fucking new. It's basically the same as API 3. You know, we don't know where the bottom is. Wait for a significant pullback on this one. The only thing that's nicer here is we have a technical higher high. So here is the high on here is 0.0348 ETH, and this is 0.0344. So it has made a higher high. That's good. Wait for a pullback for entry. Yeah. Sorry, man. Went through all of that. Take a look at Room. Oof, I'm running out of time. But let's quickly look at Room. The Polkadot ecosystem as a whole right now is it's getting my attention. I like what's going on with the Polkadot ecosystem as a whole. Again, these are brand new coins, guys. Brand new coins. Really hard to determine. The only thing that we have is an area of support. That's all we have to go off. This area of support. So because that's all that we have, the only buy signal we have that comes with a ton of risk is buying the floor. That's all. That's all we have. We have a high, a higher low, a higher high, a lower high. Do we make a lower low? All we have is this area of support holding. So just wait. No, I have not checked RSR. Frontier. RSR is getting nice. Does rising megaphone theory also correlate with traditional stocks? So all of these interpretations of how to read charts work in all markets. They work in all markets because the same thing occurs in all markets. The monkeys keep buying and selling bananas. We are the common denominator of all of these markets. The only thing that makes the candle red is fear, and the only thing that makes the candle green is greed. And the only thing that contributes to those colors are humans. It's always the same. Any TA works in any market, and anybody that tells you, oh no, this is only for stocks, you know, this style only works in Forex, they're full of shit. And they don't understand market psychology. They don't understand human behavior. All the charts are the same. The only thing that varies is the volatility. And the volatility has to do with the market caps. So the smaller the market cap, the higher the volatility. That's it. That's the only thing that changes, the market participation and the volatility of the asset. The technical setups are the same in all markets. This method was invented in the early 1920s. It's not new. It's been around for a long time. It's one of the most powerful methods I've ever learned. It's one of the easiest methods for me to control my emotions with, and I highly recommend that you learn it and study. But it's not new by any means. ETH, any pullback soon? There is a possibility of an ETH pullback. There's room there. The ETH price action overall is kind of just non-committal. I think we're all waiting on news. You know, Ethereum is waiting on bullish news. Like ETH 2.0 is kind of, you know, it's still far away. I think a lot of people are waiting to see what happens as a result of the EIP 1559 upgrade. So there's fundamental considerations with what's going on in Ethereum. Ethereum's had a bullish setup for a long time. It's had a bullish setup for a long time, and I've been positioning myself in that bullish setup for months, and I continue to add to those positions. I'm in accumulation mode on Ethereum. I think that Ethereum is going to surprise a lot of people as far as the price targets that it achieves, as long as the sentiment of Ethereum changes, and we're seeing the charts kind of tell us that the sentiment is getting ready to change. You know, news drives prices, but also prices drive news as well. And we're seeing accumulation in not only Ethereum, but a lot of layer 2 solutions as well. And, you know, we're going to be discussing those at length in VIP, understanding where the money could be flowing, because right now it's flowing out of that ecosystem and it's going into Binance Smart Chain, it's going into Matic, it's going into like all of these other alternative smart contract platforms. But I believe that it's going to just come right back in because Ethereum is a fantastic project. There's a lot of people investing in Ethereum, and development takes time, and it always takes more time than people are willing to wait. And that's just the nature of the beast. We always think that development is going to happen tomorrow. Okay. Is Hopium a new coin? And successful? What's going on, man? Never rely on Hopium. Yeah, Hopium was just launched the other day. You can get the smart contract and swap in on Uniswap. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. I got to wrap it up. So thank you so much for joining into the stream. And if you want to support the channel, you know, I've got links down below that can help you do so. If you want to just hang out and share charts and share information and come and chat, join the free Discord down below. And that's pretty much all the time I've got for today. So until next time, please trade safe. It's a jungle out there. Peace.
Welcome to my dream. It's good to see you again. We can